All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and also honor and salutations to those of you who are of the hopeful elect and are out there teaching the word of sincerity and truth. All right, so I just wanted to do a quick lesson. I'm saying quick, but I don't. Maybe it won't be. I don't know. I have a tendency to ramble a little bit, but I wanted to talk about something that we were talking about at camp this past week. It started out about Luka Doncic, and whether or not he was an Israelite. And my first response was I don't think so. I think he's Edomite. And, brothers were of the consensus that he was a Jake. And mainly because he got some skills on the court, which is true. He's a good player, right? But we started talking about it, and I feel like the sentiment was anybody who's good at something, right, is automatically an Israelite, and I don't agree with that. And I wanted to go into the scriptures a little bit and talk about why I don't agree with that. All right, so that's the topic. That's what I'm gonna speak to. So for me, um, when I'm trying to determine, right, and I'm not saying that I'm the I guess the rule on whether or not somebody's an Israelite. Like you have to ask me first, and then I'm the one that decides whether or not the person's an Israelite. That is not what I'm saying. But when I'm trying to figure out whether or not a person is Israelite, when it's not um, exactly obvious, right? Um, I try to look at the person's demeanor, right? Because I like there's too many like for instance, right? I can't watch them play a game. I can't tell them to dance, right? So I don't know anything but what I see in front of me, right? So I always try to look at a person's demeanor, and through that, over the years, I've gotten really, I mean, I say really good. I've gotten pretty proficient in being able to judge someone's character, right? I used to hear the apostles say this all the time when I first came into truth, that they could read spirits, and I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what it meant that you could read a spirit. I didn't know what that meant, but I think uh, it there a part of that is looking at a person's demeanor and looking at their behavior and their mannerisms and understanding what kind of mindset they're in, right? And there's two things I want to say to that. One thing, that's the way you're supposed to um, figure out a man, right, and what he's about, Israelite or not. And secondly, I think that people don't give the men of the Lord enough credit that we have the capacity to do that, right? That we can watch you and look at you and tell what your intent is. I very rarely um, determine someone's intent by what they're saying to me, because a lot of people will say things like, "Oh, I'm not trying to argue with you, but I'm watching you arguing with me." And you're saying it as though it's something wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with arguing. That's how you figure out the truth. You bounce ideas off of each other, right? And sometimes you might disagree, but that's how you get to the bottom of things, right? Um, but I'm more watching you than I am listening to you. All right, there's a lot more of my my eyes involved than it is my ears involved, and I try to um, go by how I feel too, like how the person is making me feel, right? So matter of fact, let me go here. What is that scripture? I didn't think of this one. So let me try to think about it real quick. Yeah. So if I go here, I have a scripture pulled up, but I can go back to. I think I wrote this one down. Yeah. Let me go to this right here. Right. Apocrypha only. This is the one. It says, let me go into this. Let me go into this. This is Sirach 17:5. They received the use of the 5 operations of the Lord, right? And in the 6th place, He imparted them understanding, right? So what are the 5 operations, right? Touch, taste, sight, hearing, and touch, taste, sight, hearing, and and seeing. I'm like, I always forget one, right? So those are your 5 operations, right? And then the 6th one is understanding, right? So you have these 5 operations, and then you comb through things with those 5 operations, and then you come to an understanding of what something is, right? This really is we talked about science this past week, right? But this is really the basis of science, right? Your 5 operations, and then coming to an understanding based on those things that you're experiencing with those 5 operations, right? And this is how I try to approach people. I approach people in that way. You get a vibe, and there's nothing wrong with making an assessment of somebody based on their what you see, right? Because matter of fact, let me go to let's go here. Let's go to this one. Where am I at here? Okay, let's go here. This is Sirach 19 and 29. It says, "A man may be known by his look, excuse me, and one that hath understanding by his countenance when thou meetest him," right? And this is how I always make my assessments, right? Because you're not always gonna have um, the ability to see somebody and how they play basketball. You're not always gonna have the ability to see somebody and how they dance and how they sing and all the things that we attribute to our people, right? That are really that the things that we're really good at. You're not always gonna have the opportunity, and that person might not have been exposed to any of those things, right? Yeah, like there are people who just don't play basketball, right? Or does that make them not an Israelite? I don't think so, right? So I always try to go by the demeanor of the person. Matter of fact, let me look up this word. Um, let's do it like this. Where we at here? Yeah. Let's do this. Let's do this. Countenance. I think I'm spelling it right. Countenance. Shit. Definition. Okay, it says a person's face or facial expression, his impenetrable eyes, and inscrutable countenance give little away. Right. It says she was given her specific countenance occasion. Admit as acceptable or possible. All right, so this is not saying much. Let's do this. Let's go to this right here. Put it in here. Countenance. Behavior. There we go. Bearing, conduct, and manners. Right. Outward appearance, looks. Right. Demeanor. Right. Bearing, conduct. From Latin, continentia, restraint. Um, Abstemiousness, I don't know how to say that. Salakia. Moderation. Right. Literally, way one contains oneself. Wow. You see. And that's what I watch them. I watch people, man, and and I learned it, uh, not directly, right? Because I never heard the Apostle Gabar say this, but I watch him and how he watches people, right? You can be having a conversation, and there's maybe like, let's say, a group of 5 of us, and we're talking, and then you start to talk. He keys in on you, and he's watching you. He's looking at you, and I learned that from him, not directly, like I said, but if I had to like think about where I got it from, I would have to say I got it from the Apostle Bar. That you have to look at somebody when they're speaking to you. For if only for respect, right? Out of respect, you listen to the person, you look at them, but you're also trying to figure out. There are all these underlying things that the person is saying, and you figure those things out by watching the person, right? And that's how I figure out whether somebody's an Israelite or not. I don't go by, you know, how they like their food, like, oh, how you like your steak, medium rare, because the story. This matter of fact, let's go to that real quick. Um, I don't know what this. I know it's. Let me see. Red pottage, KJV. Oh shit. Yeah, Genesis 25. That's what I thought. Genesis 25. What verse is it? 34. Genesis 25 and 34. It says, I see. Esau, Jacob, die. Let's start. I'm gonna start at 27. This is Genesis 25 and 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, right? And Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob, right? And Jacob sought pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom, right? And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I'm at the point to die. And what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Right. This story doesn't simply outline that Edomites like red meat. It's a couple of different things, right? One, to show the the microwave mentality of Esau. Just give it to me. I want it right now. Give it to me right away. I don't want to wait until it's fully done. I want to get it as quickly as I can. And then the second thing is to show how careless he was with his birthright. This story is not to just say that he likes red meat, right? Because I know people that I know who are Israelites, that are my family members, that like a little bit of red in their meat, right? Are they Edomites because they like it red? I don't think so. I don't think so. I know people who like their meat like that. That I never been a fan of steak anyway. Me personally, or meat, or red meat. I've never been a fan of it. Right? I'll eat a burger, but that's the extent of my red meat experience. Right? But I say all of that to say we a person who eats his meat a certain way, that's not how you determine whether or not somebody's Israelite. Right? Um Another thing that we always say is can you dance? Believe it or not, I know some Israelites that can't dance, right? And like, for instance, I'll give you a perfect example of this, right? Me, I like dancing, right? My oldest son's mother is from Cape Verde, right? So they dance kizomba or pasada and all these different types of couples dances. And if when you put me out there, I'm gonna do it. I can do that those types of dances, right? But I know so-called Cape Verdean people who dance those dances beautifully, beautifully, on beat, in rhythm, smoothly. But when you play American music for them, they don't know how to dance to it, right? Are they not Israelites? Are they Edomites? No, because when they can dance their own kind of music perfectly. but it's just a different style of music, a different beat pattern, different rhythm, so they can't switch. I know people, I know Ephraim who can dance to, like, they can do bachata, they can do what's the other like salsa and all of those different types of dances. But when you put again, like, so-called American music on, they don't know how to dance to it. Are they Edomites because they can't dance to American music? No, no, right? But if you judge by that, right? They say, okay, let's put on some music, dance to this, and it's a song that they don't dance to. They're gonna look like they got two left feet. So you're gonna say, oh yeah, you're a Edomite. Nah, it don't work like that, man. It don't work like that, right? Let me make another point. I want to make another point. I don't know what scripture that is, but let's find it. Let's find it. Uh, let's go here because this is brought up. Let's see if that works. Boom. All right. So this is Matthew 24 and 29. It says immediately. I don't know if this is the exact scripture that he brought up. The brother that comes out to listen to us, but I wanted to talk about this one too. Um, it says immediately after I'm sorry, Matthew 24 and 29. It says immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Right. So he mentioned, I don't know if he mentioned, I don't want to put any words into his brother's mouth. I don't think he mentioned Matthew 24 and 29, but he did mention a scripture and talked about the stars shall fall from heaven, right? And his implication was that Israel is the stars, right? And that any person that is a star is an Israelite, right? But our our definition of a star, right, in modern culture is somebody who's ultra famous or popular, or like, Denzel is a star, LeBron James is a star, right? But that's not what this is not. It's not just talking about the top of the people. This scripture is speaking to all Israel that had fell, not just a certain group of them, because not all Israelites are stars in that regard, right? So are they Edomites because they're not stars, because they're not good at something? Is that make them um uh not an Israelite? The logic doesn't equate when you get to the bottom of it. When you examine it and when you comb through it all the way, it starts to fall apart, because there are Israelites that are bums on the street. You feed a bum on the street some red lentils, they'll take it. Somebody that doesn't have any food, who's hungry, they'll take it. They're not gonna look at it and say, they got a little red in it. I ain't fucking with that. No, they'll take it. You see, it's a bad way, in my opinion. I'll say that, to determine whether or not somebody's an Israelite, man, whether or not they're good at something or whether or not they're a star. Because there are Edomites that are stars. Anybody can be made into a star. Anybody. We live in America, right? Hollywood is named because there's a lot of magic that goes on there. Anybody can be made a star, right? So I don't know if that's a good way to look at whether or not somebody's an Israelite, right? Um, I have another scripture written here, but I don't remember what it says. Let me go here. Genesis 31 and 2. Boom. Check this out, right? Um, it says, and Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not toward him as before, right? And the Lord said unto Jacob, return unto the land of thy fathers and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. And Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field unto his flock, and said unto them, I see your father's countenance, that that it is not toward me as before, but the Most High of my father, the power of my father, has been with me. Right. So, how did he know that Laban changed the way he felt about Jacob? He looked at his demeanor. Right. And this is not to say Laban was an Edomite. That's not the point I'm making here. The point I'm making here is that it was by the way the person was behaving themselves, the way the person looked, is how he determined whether or not that person felt something different about him. And that's how I try to live and try to determine whether or not somebody's Israelite. It could take a little while, right? You're sitting there talking to the person, and I'm referencing like being on the highways and byways when we're out at camp. We could be talking to somebody, and your first thought is, okay, this is an Edomite I'm talking to because of the way they look, right? And then as you talk to them, right, then you say, you know what, this person might be a Jake, right? And and you do that after examining the person, right? And here's another thing I wanna say too. Um, uh, Try spirit. Let's see if that works. Yes, this is First John 4:1. It says, "Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of the Most High, because many false prophets are going out into the world." Right. So how do you try the spirit? Right. You use those five cogitations. I mean, those five operations, man. That's how you try the spirit. And we could say, you're supposed to use the scriptures, which is true. You are supposed to use the scriptures, but let's examine it a little further, right? If you use the scriptures against somebody who's an Israelite and they don't agree, are they Edomites now? Are they heathen now? No, because we're in a condition as a nation where some of our people don't even know the scriptures, don't even know they're Israelites. Believe in, like for instance, those black consciousness men. Are they not Israelites because they believe that they're from Kemet? You'll read the scriptures to them and they won't follow it. So what do you use to determine whether or not they are Israelites? Right? One is good sense, right? Like the scripture said, understanding, right? But how do you come to that understanding? By the things that you see with your eyes, by the things that you can hear with your ears, right? That's how you determine whether or not somebody's an Israelite. Not if they're good at something. And quite frankly, I'm not a big fan of Luca anyway. Don't get me wrong, he's good. He is good, right? But when I watch him, I don't feel like I'm watching an Israelite playing basketball, right? And not only that, right? I've seen him in, and this is how I made my determination anyway. I see him how he talks to his teammates. You can't hear what they're saying, but I'm watching his face. I'm watching him on the court when he is imitating what he thinks is the right thing to do on the court when it comes to jarring at somebody and all of those. I'm watching him. I'm looking at somebody who's doing his best imitation of what he's always seen. I see it. And that's just my opinion, of course. That's just my opinion. It's not. I don't expect anybody to believe what I believe, or especially about him. Because at the end of the day, I really don't give a shit anyway. But just to make the point, the way you determine whether or not somebody's an Israelite is by their behavior. That's matter of fact. Let's go back to that. Where is it? Here it is. Right, their behavior, bearing, conduct, manners. Right, outward appearance, looks. Right, demeanor, bearing, conduct. Right. What else? I didn't read down too far. Present participle of contenere, to hold together and close, right? How somebody holds themselves together, right? From assimilated form of com, meaning with, right, or together, and tenere, to hold, right? The meaning evolved in late Middle English from appearance to facial expression, betraying or expressing a state of mind, yes, to the face itself. Hence, also figuratively, aspect imparted to anything. Right. So you could look at somebody and see their intent, man. And I say this all the time. People don't give us enough credit to be able to know what they're talking about. And a lot of times they like let's say there'll be times where we'll call them or call the person out, right? And they be, oh no, that's not what I'm thinking. That's not what I'm saying, or that wasn't my intent. But that was your intent. But you will go as far even to lie to yourself so that you can convince somebody otherwise. But that's another conversation. That's a whole another conversation. But that's it, man. Hopefully that was edifying. Hopefully it made sense. Hopefully nobody takes it personal. You know, at the end of the day, fuck Luca anyway. But with that being said, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bashim Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honor and salutations to those of you who are of the hopeful elect. And with that, I say Shalom.